My time inside the Resident Evil demo was not an enjoyable experience in more ways than one. When Resident Evil 6 works, it works well, but when it doesn't, the whole experience is ruined. Clunky controls, a sporadic camera, and an unnecessary amount of QuickTime events led to my time inside Resident Evil 6 being one that I do not want to revisit for a long time, which is a real shame. The demo is split up into 3 campaign sections, named aptly after the characters it revolves around. The 3 sections are Leon, Chris, and Jake. Inside these sections, the player has a choice of taking control of these characters or the available supporting characters, Helena, Piers, and Sherry. It is noteworthy that each mission can be played with a friend over Xbox Live. Starting with Leon's campaign, I was thrown into this creepy cathedral with my partner Helena, after just having killed an infected American president, in a cutscene. The atmosphere that the game created was what I expected. It was tense, creepy and dark, but I didn't feel scared, as I was led down narrow corridor after narrow corridor by a man looking for his missing daughter. The whole setting soon became rather boring. The constant need to press X every time the character comes to open a door or needs to move an item blocking their way is no way fun or engaging, and it does a lot to take the player out of the atmosphere that's being created. The boredom didn't let up either, as the game unravelled predictably, and by the end of Leon's mission I just felt like my time had been wasted. Moving swiftly on then, I turned to Chris's mission, and during my time playing as Chris, I definitely felt more engaged with the game. The mission begins with a cutscene where Chris's eventual partner, Piers, reveals to him how he is an ex-soldier and they are in need of his help. Thus, you are teleported into the middle of a city where you and your squad must battle your way into a building named the Ace of Spades. Between you and the building is a large amount of enemies that need taking down. It is standard Resident Evil, but it's so much fun. Each gun I used throughout the demo felt different, and the melee combat is exceptionally fun and rewarding. Ammo feels rare, and this leads to the player making sure that every shot counts, and that is no bad thing. What ruins the combat is the controls and the camera. The movement of the character just feels way too stiff for my liking, and the camera is just too sporadic for my liking, especially when you're running about dodging bullets. The interface also doesn't help. Switching between weapons is easily done with the use of the D-pad, but if you want to bring your whole inventory up, then you want to make sure you're outside of the battle, otherwise you are sure to be in a sorry state. Again, QuickTime events plagued Chris's mission. The point where you are tapping the X button for a good solid minute to get your character to shimmy across a pipe while enemies from ledges take shots at you is just a step too far. I ask you now, just sit there and tap the X button for a whole minute. It isn't fun, and it just feels like lazy development. By the end of the mission, I'd learnt one thing. Resident Evil 6 is not a solid shooter. Yes, the combat works well, but when you tie this into the stiff movement and an energetic camera, the whole system just begins to crumble in front of your eyes. So it's down to Jake and his blonde-haired partner Sherry to restore my faith in Resident Evil 6. Straight from the beginning, it was a high-tempo mission, running away from this juggernaut-like creature who threatened to pummel me into tiny pieces. The camera did hold up in this mission, and it worked well as I was required to run towards it before it pulled around a full 180 degrees. The QuickTime events were still there as I needed to leap over obstacles that blocked my escape, but it was definitely the most exciting part of the demo. Once I thought I'd escaped, I was proved wrong when this creature burst down from the ceiling and I was tasked with taking it out. The whole mission could be described as a bit of a boss battle, but usually with a boss battle you have a large build-up, and there wasn't anything of the sort before it. I don't know if that's because it was the demo, or if it'll be like that in the full retail game, but this was no doubt the funnest part of the game, and it definitely felt like it was the best executed part. It is really hard for me to sit here and tell you that I didn't enjoy Resident Evil, because I wanted to enjoy it. The fact that this is a preview and the gameplay that I experienced was taken from the demo itself should not hide the fact that I thought Resident Evil 6 had a lot wrong with it. Yes, it may not be a completed version, but this was meant to sell me the game, and it did the complete opposite. Resident Evil does a few things right. The characters are relatable. Having 6 main characters and having them all feel unique can be a challenge, but Capcom really pulled it off well. The combat, as I mentioned multiple times, works well. Resident Evil 6 does a great job of creating the right atmosphere for the right occasion, and with a consistent art style, this can only be reinforced in the full retail game. The best advice I can give anyone concerning Resident Evil 6 is to go play the demo yourself and to draw your own conclusions. It is available now if you own a copy of Dragon's Dogma, otherwise you will have to wait till the 20th September to play the demo. I've been Jack Fuller. For the full written article, head over to www.x3news.co.uk.